कुमार स्वामी नायकर गोंगो लेबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, Health Ministry to monitor Fiji Day celebrations. FBC launches independence song, and 32 Fijians receive commemorative medals.
From the studios of FBC SUVA, Jackie Smith.
Teams from the Ministry of Health are conducting risk assessments to ensure Fiji Day celebrations are safe to host or attend. Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wanganambete says they have been approached by businesses, municipalities and even families inquiring about COVID-19 guidelines. Kelly Vavala reports.
The Health Ministry's COVID-19 management team have been discussing Fiji Day celebrations under the new normal.
Individual municipalities then maybe have arranged something. The guidance, when they do ask for guidance, we provide that guidance. But again, you know, they have the health teams, so there's rural local authorities, there's also health teams that are part of the town councils, city councils. They're in close contact with us and also our health inspectors.
The main celebration at Albert Park in SUVA has been approved following thorough discussions with government stakeholders. Dr. Wanganambete says it's important to celebrate safely.
The Ministry of Civil Service is the lead agency in the celebrations in Albert Park and other centres, and they've been liaising with our teams. Our teams provide the technical advice around that in the COVID framework that we have at the moment, and that's been ongoing, as I've said. As soon as it was discussed that this is how it's going to be celebrated this year, our Minister of Health technical people have been part of that.
Some businesses in SUVA have already received approval notices for Fiji Day.
We haven't got anything for last over 100 days now, so we should be very grateful that we are not nowhere near COVID.
So far, we haven't feel any difficulty regarding distancing. People are also following.
Spotters from the Ministry of Health will be out on Saturday to observe Fiji Day activities on the ground, ensuring that COVID-19 protocols are followed. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
A new song has been composed to mark 50 years of independence. Launched by Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama this afternoon, Children of Fiji was commissioned by the Fijian Broadcasting Corporation and local musicians. Josai Nanunga has more.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama says the song captures the spirit of courage and compassion which has carried our people through hardships, particularly during these trying times.
Children of Fiji is sung in English, it's sung in Fiji Hindi, Itaukei and Rutuman. It is a truly Fijian song for a truly national celebration. I believe this is the first time an official song has actually included Rutuman lyrics. We are a people of many languages, many backgrounds and many religions. No matter who we are or where we come from, we are all proud daughters and sons of this nation.
Bainimarama is urging Fijians to take pride in the song and make it their own with different activities organized at work and home throughout this week.
Throughout this week, Fijians can enjoy this song while sharing lovos with families and friends, pitching flags, planting trees, and decorating their homes in the lead up to Fiji Day itself, where our Republic of Fiji military forces will proudly parade in Suva's Albert Park, the very spot that Queen Victoria's great-great-great-grandson, Prince Charles, handed over our instrument of independence 50 years ago to the day.
He says the coronavirus pandemic should not dampen the spirit of Fijians marking 50 years of independence. FBC Chief Executive Riyaz Syed Qayyum says the idea for the song emerged after noting there would be no Fiji Day concert due to the social gathering restrictions.
We decided to give the people of Fiji a anthem of sorts, which was going to signify the situation that people of Fiji are going through at the moment, and to bring us together and make us more resilient.
The Prime Minister confirmed the main celebration at Albert Park will be limited to 50% of capacity, but Fijians can join in via live television coverage. Josai Nanunga, FBC News.
Well-known retired boxer SUVA was amongst 32 Fijians awarded the 50th anniversary of independence commemorative medals today. President retired Major General Chiochi Konrote presented the medals at State House this morning. Awardees included Prime Minister Vorengeng Bainimarama, Speaker of Parliament Ratuepeli Nailatikau, and former Prime Minister Mahendra Chaudhry.
Golden Boy SUVA says receiving commemorative medal reminds him of his days flying the Fiji flag in the boxing ring.
This is a good way to help revive the sport locally. I'm here because I'm a retired boxer, and I hope that this will encourage Fijians to be part of the sport.
Also recognized today was the first Pacific Islander to become a lecturer at the University of the South Pacific and former politician during the Mbawandra government, Ratu Joe Nathola.
What an occasion. It's a day for Fiji, for the Fijians. All races were here today. It's made me very, very happy.
President Major General retired Chiochi Konrote commended the efforts of these Fijians and says that COVID-19 should not dampen our spirit in celebrating Fiji Day.
But this should not dampen our Fijian can-do spirit, nor deviate our focus and attention from the fact that within a period of half a century since independence, our young and developing nation has evolved into an acceptable level of universal social, political, and economical maturity that we should all be proud about in today's unpredictable and uncertain global environment that we live in.
These 32 are the first lot to receive the medal, with another ceremony scheduled for tomorrow. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
The Education Ministry is reviewing its child protection policy to make it more relevant to curbing pressing issues faced by school children. Head of National Education Service Delivery, Timothy Mbure, highlighted this during a virtual submission to the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and Defence this morning. Chosai Nanunga reports.
The Education Ministry will continue to prioritize the safety of students in school and have zero tolerance on child abuse, child labor, negligence and exploitation.
We have in place monitoring mechanisms through the Office of the Head of Schools and the Child Protection Officer to monitor and observe any indication of an abuse that has happened within the school or also from the home of a child. And we also have at our district offices school counselors who work consistently with our school heads in monitoring and observing students' behavior.
The ministry has set up a committee to consult with stakeholders before a new child protection policy is drafted. Committee member Pio Tigundundua questioned the boarding school environment and the vulnerability of students exposed to pornographic materials on mobile phones.
What is the ministry doing to actively, I don't know if you're hearing me, to actively monitor the use of pornographic, the child's access to pornographic material and pornographic activity, particularly in boarding schools?
Mbure says the ministry has a social media and mobile phone policy, and they are banking on school heads, teachers and parents to enforce it. Chosai Nanunga, FBC News.
Up ahead, positive response to SUVA on sale, and former diplomat recalls Independence Day.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
A day into the week-long SUVA on sale, and retailers are already seeing customers flocking to their shops. FBC News took to the streets this morning and found a festive central business district gearing up for Fiji's 50th independence anniversary. Koroi Tandalala reports shop employees are also dressing up.
The Fiji Day spirit is spreading with retailers and customers with the return of the SUVA on sale after about 4 years. The streets flooded with blue.
This may be the only event happening in SUVA for some time, which hasn't happened in the last 6 months. So we are expecting positive results, and we hope, and the consumers be positive about this, coming in there, blue and white t-shirts.
Businesses and customers alike hopes that the SUVA on sale will bode well for both parties and boost economic activity within the CBD area. The hustle and bustle of the capital is expected to return over the next 5 days leading up to the 10th of October celebration.
I personally feel that the SUVA on sale is something that all Fijians need right now, as it gives us a chance to buy things we want at a more affordable rate. We should consider this as a blessing.
It's good, plenty things will be cheaper here in this SUVA. Might be SUVA in show.
We did a good sale from morning. We have actually put half price, and customers are really coming, appreciated this sale there.
Retailers are encouraged to decorate their shops and employees to dress up in blue as we head towards the Fiji Day celebration on Saturday. Koreitan Tulala, FBC News.
There's a road closure at NABOUTINI village in Sangani due to a landslide. The Fiji Roads Authority says motorists can use bypass roads from Lambasa to Wainingandru and Savusavu to Lakemba. There's also a half-road closure between Lakemba and Sangani to Nakura Crossing before NABOUTINI village due to a washout. A number of other roads are currently closed due to flooding. This includes Waitangolo Crossing on Waitangolo Road, Volata Dodho Road in Corvo, and Waimbula Crossing in Taviuni. Education Minister Rosie Akbar says teaching is a noble profession in marking World Teachers' Day. With the theme Teachers Leading in Crisis, Re-imaging the Future, Akbar says this is a reflection of the academic challenges they've tackled due to the pandemic. She says teachers must be acknowledged and recognized by all Fijians for their dedication and commitment.
World Teachers' Day in Fiji is particularly special this year as we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of our nation's independence on the 10th of October 2020, which is only 5 days away.
She thanked the over 13,263 teachers for their contribution in preparing and shaping the future of Fiji. The business landscape in the capital city has changed over the past 5 decades, but retailers with sound plans and a competitive edge are still thriving. One such business, a menswear specialist, Lala's store, which began operation in 1952 in Waimanu Road, SUVA. Director Ramesh Lala says they've come a long way in the past 68 years. Ritika Pratap has their story.
The business was started by Ramesh Lala's grandfather, and 3 generations later, he has continued the legacy.
It was quite a struggle those days, but there are a lot of other overseas importers, overseas companies were here, but we managed to have our foot on the business.
Lala joined the family business in 1969 and says the capital city has developed a lot over the years.
A lot of things have changed over the years. New people came in, new ideas came in, a lot of new enterprise came in, a lot of new buildings came in. SUVA has really grown in the last 50 years.
The company now has its own garment factory, and Lala says the secret to success is remaining loyal to your customers and ensuring quality is maintained.
From 1961, we changed to menswear completely. We do menswear, sets, suits, made to measure. Then, of course, we operate a factory too, where we made our own Lotus brand sets.
Lala was at the age of 24 when Fiji gained independence and recalls what running a business was like back then.
There was never a restriction. No. Of course, we had this Saturday or Wednesday half-day closing, but some people used to close on Wednesday, some people used to close on Saturdays, and afterward they all decided they should close on Saturday. There was no restriction. We had a very open hand. Was given to us to do business.
The store has been at the same location since 1952, and they have customers coming in from around Fiji to buy their clothes. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
October 10th, 1970 brought with it much fanfare as Fiji celebrated its independence. KAMLESH ARYA, who was then a secondary school student, attended the celebrations at Sobrel Park in Lambasa and says a lot has changed post-independence. Kritika Kumar has his story.
ARYA says Independence Day celebrations were electrifying and everybody was eager to know what independence meant.
Independence had some very little arrangement. All we knew was that we are going to be our own, we'll have our own government, and people of Fiji will have their say.
ARYA says the Fijian community as a whole has a lot of resilience and willpower. The former parliamentarian and Fiji's ambassador to Australia says the education sector has had great reform.
Colonial government had a very sound educational process. The learning of English as a language, all other general subjects were taught in primary and secondary schools. Then we had additional advantage of doing overseas Cambridge examination.
ARYA hopes that the 50th independence anniversary will be a learning threshold for Fijians.
That as we move forward in future, we will all have a common platform for governance. Everybody will have a common thought in the interest of the country, and we will all be strong and able to defend ourselves in cases of adversities.
He adds Fijians need to remain united as there are many more years to come. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
And Whitney joins us now with the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up in business tonight, kava farmers warned of dieback disease. And in growing Fiji, youth sets up mangrove planting initiative. Stay with us.
Pula nadang go approach ng karse, go erkraki. Do TAILEVU na barong na Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibit.
Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibit.
Kava farmers have been warned on the rapid spread of kava dieback disease. The Agriculture Ministry has begun training farmers on how to minimize the risk of disease. The most recent held in Overlau. Permanent Secretary Ritesh Das says the training empowers farmers and raises awareness on diseases that affect kava production. The disease is a virus that rapidly spreads black soft rot of the stem tissue, and symptoms appear on the leaves before the visible rot starts. There is no spray that can kill the virus, and farmers have to burn the whole planting material. The Ministry of Agriculture is working on controlling the spread of the disease. We now join Sanifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Market capitalization recorded an increase of 0.97% and concluded at $3.44 billion. The increase was due to positive share price changes for RB Patel Group, as well as the additional quotation of shares by Kontiki Finance arising from the completion of the dividend reinvestment plan. 42 transactions with an approximate volume of 40,000 shares and value of $148,000 were recorded. On the foreign exchange front, the US dollar held tight ranges against its peers today as investors awaited clarity on the health of US President Donald Trump after he tested positive coronavirus, sending markets into safe haven assets. With not a lot of major economic indicators released this week, the focus all comes down to Trump's illness. Investors also await the upcoming vice president presidential debate on Wednesday. The Reserve Bank of Australia holds its policy meeting tomorrow, while the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank will be releasing the minutes of their September meetings. That's a wrap from HFC Bank. Vinaka.
Looking at today's local exchange rates as set early this morning, the Fiji dollar dropped versus the Chinese yuan and the US greenback today, but rose against the Aussie dollar and the euro. Money markets were in a bit of a confusion after traders decided to play it safe following the announcement President Trump was hospitalized with coronavirus. Looking at commodities, the crude oil price fell again down to just under $38 per barrel. Gold rose slightly to $1,903 per ounce, and silver closed down at $24.08 an ounce. Happy Mangroves Project, in partnership with One Mate FJ, intends to plant over 200,000 mangrove trees before year end. Founder of the Happy Mangroves Project, Salanieta Koro, says she set up the project in an effort to help address climate change issues around the country. She aims to plant 10,000 mangroves every Sunday, but this has been slowed down by the pandemic.
We have planted 66,000 now. We didn't plant during the COVID group restrictions, and so we missed out on 4 months, which is 12 Sundays, and so it really affected the weekly target to reach the annual target.
And that's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Vinaka Whitney, and good evening. Ahead in sports, Bambasing Lions out to retain IDC title, and YASAWA will continue fight to stay in Skipper Cup. This and more after the break.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Defending coach inter-district champion Triple S Building Lambasa will be out to set the record straight when they take on Kuma Imports NABOUTINI tomorrow. When the two sides last met in the Vodafone Premier League last month, the Mbambasing Lions were outclassed by NABOUTINI 2-1. Karleni Tavi has more.
Lambasa knows how crucial getting a win will be to progress to the next round in the tournament.
So our first game will be the toughest one for us. NABOUTINI will be coming out firing, and I have been telling the boys, so we have been preparing for that game. And we have played NABOUTINI this year, and I think so we lost that game, and so it is something for our boys to prove.
The side will be missing the services of star defender Lekima Ngonerau, but another factor that the Mbambasing Alliance is weary of is the weather.
This time I think so things should be better. The style of football that we have, I think so we have focused on that, and we'll try and work on that, and people will see. Hopefully the weather in SUVA will be favorable, but at the moment it's quite bad.
For the Lincoln Refrigeration Rawa side, physical fitness is not a concern, but ensuring players are mentally fit is the main aim.
We have 3 tough games, and in the beginning we have Flotaka, and then we have SUVA on the second day. So that on its own brings a different rhythm into the tournament. So there's no chance for us to relax or drop our guard.
The defending champions play NABOUTINI tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. while Rewa Midlotoka at 7 p.m. at ANZ Stadium in SUVA. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
1990 was a special year for the Nasinu Football Association. It was the last time Nasinu won the court's inter-district championship, and with the tournament starting tomorrow, those closest to the association are hopeful the feat can be repeated. Aquila Dama with the story.
A piece of history that remains with a man regarded as the father of Nasinu football.
It was one of the rainy days like today here, and we trained the whole week in rain before the IDC, and I would love to see Nasinu lift the trophy again.
Balgovin was the Nasinu president in 1990, and even his children in this picture are still supporting the team. Nasinu's goalkeeper who lifted the IDC trophy is now coach Tangi Vonolangi, who clearly remembers that winning goal 30 years ago.
In the last minute of the game, the late Melitumbota took a cross from the almost halfway line, and it beats all the SUVA defenders, and Tomuvania finished it with a sliding kick.
The memories are still fresh. However, Balgovin and the Nasinu football family are hoping they can witness something special this weekend. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Heading into her 4th IDC, Lincoln Refrigeration Rewa women's rep, 20-year-old Miriam Mbakini knows it's anyone's game come competition day. Rewa is pooled with Nandrogan, Nasinu and SUVA for the tournament that's been postponed to the end of the month. Mbakini says they are preparing well and will not be taking any team for granted.
Most of them thought that the group that they've allocated us in will be not that tough. But to me, we don't know what's coming, so they might be having some strong players. They've also have some experienced players with them, especially with Nandronga and SUVA. So we shouldn't be taking that lightly.
Tomorrow's Inter-District Championship will be the first for most players in the Nandongo team. Nandongo is one of the sides featuring in the senior division, which will now be played at the Uprising Ground in Pacific Harbour. Aquila Dama has the details.
It's going to be a special IDC for Nandongo because they haven't been part of the tournament for quite some time.
Might be after a lapse of 4 years, and we have a combination of young and old, and we are going to this IDC as underdogs.
Berra, who is a former Lambasa rep and current FA development officer in the north, says being pulled with Nandronga, Tavua and Bua is quite challenging.
We are playing with Nandronga in the first game, and we will take game one by one.
Another Vanua level team that is planning to stamp its mark in the IDC is Senganga.
My name is to bring the trophy here to Senganga, make these people happy, as well as our families for sacrifice for this team.
Senganga will open the senior IDC tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. against Nreketi at Uprising Sports Center in Pacific Harbour. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
The Blue Gas YASAWA rugby side will not be giving up just yet on its Skipper Cup 2020 campaign. With only 3 rounds remaining, winless YASAWA is still out to finish the competition on a high note. Currently bottom of the table with 6 points, YASAWA will need to win all its remaining matches to have any chance of continuing in the Premier Grade. Carlani Tavi with the details.
Having set a 5-year plan to reach the Skipper Cup competition, YASAWA made it within 3 years.
And, so it's been a journey for us, you know. Last 2 years we were playing in the minor union in the Vanua or the B division. So, and the plan was for 5 years, you know. But within 3 years we came up to the major union or the Skipper Cup. So it's a journey for the team.
Playing in the major union has been a learning curve for the players.
Actually, the first time we are playing in the major union, and there is not a lot of development at the lower grade. Most of the players have been playing from the first round's competition, and we are not given time to rest. And this is also our first Fair Brother challenge.
The Marlins have now shifted their focus to the remaining Skipper Cup matches ahead.
So we will enjoy the weekend, regroup again on Monday and prepare for our next game against TAILEVU. So after TAILEVU it's Nandronga, and after Nandronga is Naitashir.
TAILEVU and YASAWA, which are currently the bottom 2 on the standings, will face off this week at Prince Charles Park in Nandi. Carleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
Hawke's Bay is the new holder of New Zealand Rugby's Ranfurly Shield. A 28-9 victory over Otago saw Hawke's Bay become the 4th team to hold the shield this season, with Otago's tenure ending just 7 days after they wrestled the shield of Taranaki. Fiji Motorsports Association launched its Pacific Energy Show and Shine Nationals today. The much-anticipated car show, scheduled for November 7th, is expected to feature more than 100 participants in Namaka, Nandi. Fiji Motorsports Association Vice President Sandip Prakash says they hope the show draws people from all walks of life.
We have already got interested since we have announced the date. We have about 80 already confirmed, so we should be looking at anything above 100 for this show, and that's a big number for Fiji actually, and something exciting for the public too as well, to see those fast cars that are not people who are not unable to see those fast cars on the drag race. They could come down and see those vehicles themselves during the show.
Manchester United suffered a humiliating defeat on home ground this morning, going down 1-6 to Tottenham Hotspur. It is also Tottenham's biggest win at Old Trafford and matches their record 6-1 home win over United in September 1932. From sports tonight, in new media, Samsung has released a smaller, cheaper version of the Galaxy S20. Find out more after the break.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
And Angie joins us now with the latest in weather.
Good evening and welcome to the weather world. Conditions have somewhat improved. It's not bugging us with showers every time we walk out the door. It was a mix of sun and showers all around the country. Now in the west, sunshine returned. It wasn't full on, but glad it made it through. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to SUVA, weather was 50-50. Rain is on again for the night. And up north, beautiful conditions surrounded. At sea, southeast winds 25 to 30 knots, rough seas. Turning to the tides, high tide at 8:46 p.m. with low tide at 3:06 a.m. Sunrise will be at 5:44. For tomorrow, where is all the showers flowing in from? Sorry to say, there is more showers headed towards us. Tomorrow's temps, all centers remain calm and cool in the lower 20 degrees. And looking further on to Wednesday, more flow of rain. Well, that's all the weather news from my side. Jackie joins you again.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse, we asked, do you think the SUVA on sale will help businesses affected by COVID-19?
Good initiative by the SUVA Retailers Association as a tactic to assist businesses who were affected by the pandemic.
I think the sale comes in handy amidst the pandemic. It will assist most businesses bounce back on track.
Plenty people will come and buy the stuff like we'll be here working here in this shop.
But I only hope the weather stays good and people come out and enjoy and take advantage of SUVA on sale.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, Health Ministry to monitor Fiji Day celebrations. Fijian Broadcasting Corporation launches independent song. And 32 Fijians receive commemorative medals. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. Our poll question where last week we had asked, will it be the toughest school term to date for students? 69% answered yes. And this week we're asking, will SUVA on sale help businesses affected by COVID-19? Visit our FBC website to answer. And on to our shot of the day. First one for the week, and this one is from Pritesh Chand, shows the sun setting over calm ocean. And be sure to send us your pictures to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe. Bye for now.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।